Tim Tokwe and our correspondent Chris Lems giving us a rundown of activities as they followed the governorship election there in Imo State. It's been a very busy day for them, but largely they told us that INEC could be commended based on the conduct of that election, even though sadly a death was recorded earlier on Saturday in Imo State. But right now it's all about collation and expectation of the final result of the governorship election that took place in Imo State. But back in the studio, we're talking about how we can take this more seriously. This cannot be another round of conversation in another 4 years. And Mr. G.T. Ogunye took us on a very, very thought-provoking round there when he talked about the lack of intellectualism than we used to see in our politics in the days of Awolowo, in the days of our heroes past. And definitely, this cannot be some kind of half-thought-about, reckless, loose conversation on social media, because there is a pattern, and we hope we don't follow that pattern again, of second-term complacency that we see in our politics. We do hope that this is not going to happen with the re-election of our president, even though in the course of campaigns, political parties will say, vote us again, and then we are going to consolidate on the gains that we have made in the last 4 years. But largely, the word largely has come into our parlance, political parlance again. We've seen a cycle of second-term complacency. If we would not go that route again, politicians will continue to be politicians. What needs to happen? Again, it takes me back to that question we asked 2 weeks ago. Who needs to lead this systemic, serious conversation?
You know, last week I did say that at some point we will have to learn to make sacrifices. And then I had expected, although unfortunately now, I had expected that, you know, after the presidential election, irrespective of the misgivings, irrespective of the challenges, that those challenges should have kick-started a process of what I would call sacrifices. That rather than this route of we will go to court to challenge the process, we will claim back our stolen mandate in court. I am not saying it is not good to go to court. But over time, you find out that all the gains, you know, not all, but the most important gains we have made in our electoral processes are gains that were gotten by INEC improving on the process. Take the issue of the card reader, for example, the creation of rack centers, you know, some of the logistic challenges that had to also, the innovation introduced with logistics, is INEC innovating. And so, I had expected also that with all of these challenges identified, that it would be an opportunity, an avenue for, you know, those people who were crying that they were shortchanged by INEC to use that as an opportunity to say, you know what, now we would not want to come back here 4 years and still be discussing this process of shortchanging. Let us sit down as stakeholders and kickstart a process of a rebate. Of look, INEC, these are the challenges. Just like we remember when the APC were in opposition, it was a slogan. The waste panel report, revisiting the waste panel report was a slogan for them. So I had expected also that some of these issues, you know, would have formed the crux of the debate, the discussion. And so INEC would have also kickstarted the process of, you know, preparing, and that discussion that the INEC chairman did refer to in his speech the Saturday when the elections were first postponed. But we have lost that opportunity now because the issue that will dominate the debate, the discussions now, would be issues in the court. And some will not be discussed because, you know, that's sub judice.
Sub judice.
You know, these issues should not be discussed because, you know, the matters are in court. And by the time the parties are done in court, you know, one way or the other, you know, we will not have the opportunity of chewing all of those issues. The outcome might probably throw up one or two issues which might not be connected to the root cause of these challenges. And so we miss that opportunity again. You know, so, but then, that also does not stop the media from setting the agenda, like the media had consistently done. You know, we shouldn't, because I also notice a trend where, you know, the politicians are the ones setting the agenda and then the media react, rather than the media setting the agenda for the politicians to react. And so once the media sets the agenda, the discussions and the debate is focused in those directions. And also, just same way the media set the agenda for Jega's reformation, the way the waste panel report was echoed in the media about how we need to begin to look at INEC and how we appoint people who head INEC. It was a heated debate in the media, and at the end of the day, even when Jega was appointed, I still remember at that time, one of the criteria or one of the slangs or the slogan of the then ruling party was that, well, the president did not know Jega directly, giving credence to the fact that, yes, this issue, you know, is a debate, but why we would not want to accept the fact that, yes, somebody should nominate for us, but yes, we can appoint somebody who, you know, people will have trust and hope in. But the moment that happened, and then the moment the 2015 election produced a desired outcome, we all went cold with the issues and went silent on the reforms. And so until 2019, we suddenly woke up and remembered that, yes, there were innovations we would have kickstarted, you know, with discussions, but that we abandoned because the 2015, you know, produced a desired result. And then also, we also did not bother to take a census of all of the issues that went to court with the 2015 election, and the outcome, apart from, you know, the conspicuous ones like the River State issue, where also the court had the opportunity to set make the card reader, you know, an innovation in our electoral laws. Because if you look at, you know, the legal jurisprudence in India, people had argued that we should make Chapter 2 of our Constitution justiciable. But in India, where they are justiciable, it wasn't as a result of parliamentary intervention. It was as a result of case law interpretation, where the Supreme Court of India did rule that, look, these provisions cannot be in the Constitution as a window dressing. They are there as rights that should be justiciable. And it took those interpretations for people to be able to sue on those rights. One also would have expected that with those interpretations of those matters going to Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court would have been able to afford us the opportunity of, you know, expanding, you know, the electoral processes by, you know, introducing this, accepting this innovation as a way of upping the ante. But we missed that opportunity also. That's why, for me, I think that if we need to go far and kickstart these debates and kickstart these processes, we can't achieve it, unfortunately, using the court process. At some point, we will have to learn to make sacrifice. But now that the politicians who have missed the opportunity, with the politicians doing that, I think the media, it is high time, and it is now that the media needs to begin to set those agendas.
All right, so let me quickly follow up on something you said, the media leading the conversation. But we have also seen patterns in Nigeria where the media picks up a particular issue and begins to drive it, and there is a momentum. And all of a sudden, because we have a very, very smart political class, these issues get derailed by
events.
By something else. It appears that the political class, when they see that the populace is closing in on this matter, they create another news. We've seen this pattern happen over and over again. And you see political pundits say things like, that issue had to come up because this issue that we are driving is nearing its head. So it then appears that we don't seem to have a truly apolitical class that drives intellectualism, like he pointed out, such that we all drop issues all at the same time and then run like headless chickens, permits that expression, such that there is no intellectual rallying points for these things that pick up the pieces when the smart political class creates diversionary issues for us.
And that also brings me to the fact that our civil society organizations, you begin to wonder.
That's the area I want.
What role do they play?
See, I agree with you completely, and that's where. I will also draw from what GT has said that, it's not just about the media now or the political class. It has to involve all of us. I've had cause to also educate some persons when they say, oh, where are the Ganifa enemies of this world? Where are the Femi Falanas? Oh, where are the Jerry Rawlings? So I've said, look, I said it last time. If these people had waited for a Martin Luther King, they wouldn't have acted. And so you have that drop of Ganifa in all of us. And so it is for us to look inward and activate that drop of Ganifa or the Martin Luther in us to take up the issues from where the media, where the media generates.
Provided they understand the issues.
That's where education comes in. You find out also, if you know the massive awareness that is out there, but it's just that the issues in most cases are not the narratives. Sometimes politicians intentionally or would mischievously, railroad the narrative. And now also it is also very convenient for everybody to bear that toga of civil society. It also becomes a meal ticket for some persons.
I'm afraid, gentlemen, it's time for break. When we come back after this break, we'll continue the conversation. The verdict continues in just a moment. Don't go away.